So Fire Iron Forge is located in Rathdrum, Idaho. Ooh, someone can sign up for one of our blacksmithing classes on our website. There's a calendar there so they can select what class they'd like to come to, see when it's available, and then sign up online. I got into blacksmithing just because I saw it in like TV and movies and just thought it was cool as a kid. And so I did a little bit as I could as a kid, and then when I got older, I started piecing things together so that I could actually make stuff, and that's how I got started. Well, I think it's important to teach other people blacksmithing, especially the younger generations and especially homeschoolers, because it's a great way of learning. It's a really, really neat way you can combine, say, the interest of making something out of metal with forging, and you can really talk a lot about other areas as well. We talk about math and measurements and all that kind of stuff. We talk a lot about science and what's going on with the metallurgy and what's happening with the metal. And then we also talk a lot about the history of blacksmithing and what different blacksmiths have done over thousands of years. And in different parts of the world, everybody has done blacksmithing a little bit differently. So there's a lot to offer, especially to our homeschoolers. But I really like teaching the younger generations just because it's neat to pass on the tradition, you know, just like it was passed on to me, and just keep that ball rolling. Some challenges as a blacksmith. There's a lot. Really, I think the most challenging thing about being a blacksmith is continuing to press on and work despite whatever circumstances are happening or going on. You know, all different kinds of circumstances come up in life with anything, but with blacksmithing it can be especially challenging because you're trying to work on a specific project. Usually there's a deadline that project needs to be completed by, and some things don't go according to plan, and so you have to be creative and not let objects or things like that get in your way. A lot of times those same objects and obstacles really create a great opportunity for further learning, for advancement, for techniques and things, because you have to try something different to try to solve that problem and try to overcome that. So you end up learning a lot, but the struggle to press on through that to get that benefit is really helpful. So there's lots of different ways of getting the metal hot. So the most popular right now is propane. That's mainly because a lot of people are making knives or smaller forged items, which is good. Propane is great. It's very convenient. We use propane too, but I really, really love a coal forge. The solid fuel gives you a lot more control over what you're forging and how you're forging it. One of the big limitations to propane is that you're limited to whatever the size of the forge opening is, so you can't fit anything bigger than that. You can't forge it, as where a coal forge is all the way open on top, so you could have something that's 20 feet long, I guess, if you needed to, and then you can hold it somehow, get the end of it in the coal forge, and then heat up just the section you need to work on, pull it out, work on it, and put it right back. So it allows you a lot of flexibility as far as size of the object that you're using and the control of the heat. The coal forge heats more like the sun in the sense that it's radiant heat. So you have a really, really hot core center, and the further you get away from that, the cooler it gets. So if you were forging something and you wanted it to be hotter in one spot and cooler in another, you can control that, as where a propane forge heats like an oven. So you put it in there and the entire piece gets pretty much the same temperature. So you don't have quite as much control with a propane forge. One of the most awesome things I've ever seen made. I mean, there's a lot of things that I've made that I'm pretty happy about. There was a really cool bird sculpture that I made one time that was really, really neat. I was really excited about that. But my favorite things that I see people make definitely come from our students. And usually it's kind of midway through their kind of learning process as far as they're going through the curriculum. And it's where they finally get to a place where they're understanding how the metal moves in specific ways. And so what's neat is how they begin to problem solve. It's not so much me telling them, hey, this is how, you know, hammer here, that's, you know, that's bent, hit here to straighten that out. It's where they are working that out in their head, and I can see and watch them do that. So they'll be at the anvil, you know, going at it, and I won't say anything, and I watch them go, oh, hey, I need to turn this a little bit this way, or hammer that way, or move this that way, where they're really starting to understand kind of the process of how to make something out of metal. That's definitely my favorite. The most gratifying thing that I see when somebody's learning how to blacksmith is when they're really having a hard time, when they're really, really struggling. It's one of my favorite things when I'm teaching blacksmithing, not because I enjoy watching them suffer, but because I know what's just behind that suffering. So you have somebody that's working on something, and usually they've been working on it for a while. It's not the first time they're trying to make this particular piece or this thing, and so they've done it a few times and they haven't been successful yet. And they're getting right to that point of just like, oh, like, why am I even doing this? Can I even do this? What am I doing? You know, I can't figure this out. How come I can't figure it out? All that kind of stuff. So I like to come in and try to, you know, encourage them to continue on and keep trying, and hey, maybe try this or try that, to press through that, because just on the other side of that is victory. And then they get that moment of excitement of going, oh man, like now I got it, now I nailed it. So it's neat to see and be a part of that path of, you know, struggle and challenge and being frustrated and wanting to quit and, you know, going through all that difficulty, and then being there for that breakthrough moment where it clicks and then they do get it and they nail it and it comes out really, really good. Yes, so our students can earn a certificate when they complete different levels of the education that we have. So they get a certification through our shop and school, but they also get one through an organization called ABANA, which is the Artists Blacksmith Association of North America. So that's the biggest blacksmith organization in North America, and because it's the biggest in North America, that same certification is recognized around the world. So if somebody has a certification through our shop and school and through ABANA, they could travel to Europe or any number of other countries and go, hey, I have this certification, and the smiths there will know exactly what they can and can't do, and be able to put them to work. So I think it's really important. It's been really helpful to have that certification, so that way there's a standard for people that are forging, just like you have for an electrician or for a plumber or for anybody else that has a trade, to go, hey, what skill level are you at? Are you an apprentice? Are you a journeyman? Are you a master? You know, where's your skill level at? And for a long time, there hasn't been that for blacksmithing, at least not in the United States. So it's really nice to be able to have that. But yeah, the big thing that I hope that our students expect, and I hope to teach and help instill and be a part of the expectation with our shop and school and blacksmithing in general, is really just an attitude to learn, to be generous, but also humility. You know, pride is the enemy of learning. You have to be humble enough to admit that you don't know something to learn something. And so I hope to create that culture in our school specifically, but also I hope that people take that with them to, hey, try something new, and it's going to be a little bit different, and you're not going to get it right away, and all of that's okay. It's brand new. And so that's something that I hope, we continue to pass on.